Well, greetings, citations, everybody. Welcome to Open Mic here on my YouTube channel. I'm your host, John Campea, and this is the show where all we do is just take open questions from you guys. Now, every morning on the John Campea Show, we save some time to take some live questions, but here on Open Mic, that's all we do. It's just all live questions for the entire hour. So, show starting a little bit later than normal today. I had a follow-up dental appointment, got my sutures taken out. It feels really weird when they're pulling the stitches out. Ooh, but I had the stitches pulled out. There's a little bit of swelling in there today, so I might sound a little bit funny, but it's all good. I'm feeling pretty good. Okay, so with all that out of the way, let's get to some live questions here, guys, because we've already got a whole bunch of them to get to. And we're going to start off with Styler Man Who Won, who writes, I love the new Venom trailer. Most impressive. Yeah, I'm telling you what, the response to this Venom trailer has been pretty overwhelmingly positive. Now, I did a quick survey this morning, and at the time, it was like 83% of the respondents said that this trailer has increased their interest in the movie. That's right where you want those numbers to be. Only about 8% of people said it decreased their interest in the movie, and then about 20% or 19% of people said it didn't change the needle for them up or down. So for the vast majority of people, and it's a damn good trailer. I've watched it about 6 or 7 times today. I enjoy that trailer a lot, man. I'm getting a real kick out of it. And again, this movie may be a complete car wreck, but it's got potential. I think you'd have to be purposefully contrarian to not at least acknowledge this film's got potential. This could be pretty good. It might be awful, might be a steaming car wreck, but you'd have to be purposefully being contrarian to say, oh no, this movie doesn't even have potential. Oh, obviously it does. It clearly has potential. Whether or not it'll live up to that potential, that's another question entirely. But so far, I gotta say, man, I'm liking what I'm seeing. All right. Donaldo Martinez writes, who's done crazier stunts, Jackie Chan or Tom Cruise? Jackie Chan. Easy Jackie Chan. Tom Cruise has done like the bigger scale stunts, but the stuff that Jackie Chan has done though, like without wires, without camera tricks, without safety harnesses, without all that kind of stuff, they're not as the same scale as Tom Cruise stuff. But yeah, man, you just can't compare. Tom Cruise is the modern day madman for sure. But you still can't compare what he's done to what Jackie Chan has done in his career. Jackie Chan has been an absolute madman. Like, absolute madman. So I love and admire what Tom Cruise is doing now is stuff no other Hollywood star is doing. Absolutely. And full credit for that. But I wouldn't go comparing it to Jackie Chan yet. Like, Jackie Chan has done the most insane stuff. Like, it's just nutty. Just nutty. All right. Julius Goodwin writes, what was the big DC secret you said would make everybody lose their minds? Also, have you ever seen Der Untergang? Bruno Ganz is incredible as Hitler. I have seen it. If I'm thinking of the right one, I've seen it. At any rate, as far as first part of the question, I've already said I've said that many times now. I'm not discussing that anymore. Not discussing it anymore. Nope. Not a thing from me. Styler Manu writes, the Guardians cast open letter was intriguing to me. Gunn's jokes were horrific and crossed the line. Disney had to remove him. Pedophilic humor isn't consistent with family entertainment and parks. Well, Styler, I'm going to disagree with you here. Not that pedophile humor is completely consistent with family. But guess what? Disney has done incredibly racist stuff in the past. If I wanted to take 5 minutes here, I could pull in a whole bunch of images from old Disney stuff and how unbelievably racist they were. That is also not consistent with family values and family parks. The problem, here's my issue. Now look, I take no issue with anybody who's got a problem with James Gunn and what he said. Because I get it. It's understandable. However, what I think is really important to note here is this. James Gunn made awful, idiot, moron mouth jokes almost a decade ago. A decade ago. The time is not the issue. The issue isn't that it was almost 10 years ago. Here's the issue. The issue was that on his own, as an individual, without being caught or dragged out on the carpet or being punished for something, he just decided as an individual on his own over the years, that stuff that I used to say is stupid and hurtful. I thought I was just being shock humor, but it wasn't just shock humor. It was hurtful, insensitive, and stupid. I'm going to stop doing that because that is not consistent with the type of person I want to be. So I am making, if I'm James Gunn, I am making the decision to not say those types of jokes anymore. And he stopped and changed and evolved as a person and has never uttered anything that even comes close to sounding like that old humor he did almost 10 years ago, because he himself recognized that's not consistent with the type of person I want to be. I thought at the time it was just funny shock humor. I recognize by myself, I recognize that it's not just silly shock humor. It's hurtful and insensitive and really, 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 really idiot, moron mouth stupid. And I don't want to be that. So I'm going to stop because that's not consistent with who I want to be. And he made that change on his own years ago. What are we saying as a society if we say not good enough? What do we say as a society? Because I'll tell you what, this is no different than Disney putting out tons of racist crap in their history. But why do we tolerate Disney as a company today? Because over the years, Disney used to look back on the stuff they put out and said, you know what? That stuff we used to do is racist. And that's hurtful and demeaning and stupid. We, as a company, are not going to do that anymore because it's hurtful and demeaning and stupid. So we as a company, we're going to grow beyond that nonsense that we did, and we're not going to do that stuff anymore. That's what Disney decided to do as a company. It therefore, to me, is the height of hypocrisy for Disney, a company with an incredibly sordid past in racism. We're not even going to talk about the founder of the company. With an incredible history rooted in racism, if we are to say, yeah, we're okay with them learning their lesson and them making a decision as a company to grow and evolve and change, and we accept that now because what they are as a company today is not what they were as a company before. If we're going to say that, then there is a hypocrisy to not extend that same common sense to a James Gunn who engaged in idiot moron mouth humor almost a decade ago and on his own said, that's not consistent with what I want to be and who I want to be, and I'm going to change. And he changed years ago. So my question is, if we as a society are saying, it doesn't matter, you said something stupid once. He didn't physically do anything. He didn't hurt anybody. He didn't break it. Verbally, he hurt people with his words. Yes, idiot moron mouth. But there's a hypocrisy in there saying it's okay for Disney to grow and evolve as a company, learn from their mistakes and move on. But it's not okay for another individual. And by the way, Disney knew about those tweets when they hired James Gunn in the first place. Don't let anybody tell you differently. They knew about those tweets. Because if I know, some little fucking idiot nobody, if I know what my potential employees' social media history is before I hire them, then you better bet your ass that Disney knew and they vetted him as a director before they brought him. They knew. They're just now pretending that they didn't know to save a little bit of face. And you know what? I'm going to admit something right now. All right? I'm going to admit something right now just to make the point. And I'm going to warn you in advance. I'm going to use an inappropriate term only for the purposes of highlighting what a moron I was. Okay? So I'm going to repeat an inappropriate term here just to highlight for the sake of illustration of just how stupid I was. Okay? There was a time years ago I was a very jokey dude. I don't know if I was ever very funny, but I was a very jokey dude. And guess what? I didn't have Twitter yet, but I used to make gay jokes. And by gay, I mean, I used to say fag jokes. That's the term. And I only use it to illustrate how stupid I was. And I used to make those jokes all the time. I used to make jokes at the expense of homosexuals all the time. All the time. At some point, though, I evolved as a person that I realized nobody called me out on it. Nobody pulled me to the carpet on it. Nothing like that. I just realized, you know what? That's not funny. That stuff that I was saying. It's not funny. It's hurtful and it's demeaning and it puts down an entire people group who are human beings like me. And I sound like an idiot when I say stuff like that. I don't want to be that person. I don't want to be the guy that says that idiotic, backward-thinking, cousin-humping, idiotic stuff. I don't want to be that person. And I decided to stop. So here's the thing. The reality is, if you don't want to see a movie by James Gunn, because he said something once, almost a decade ago, that he himself recognized was idiotic and stupid, and he himself made the choice that he didn't want to be like that. He wanted to be a different type of person than the type of person that says those stupid things, and he grew and developed as a person and changed. If you don't want to watch that guy's movies, then you can't watch my YouTube channel either, because I did the same thing. I'm just being honest. I am just being honest. I did the same thing. So if you have a problem watching a movie or thinking a James Gunn should be hired because he used to say stupid stuff 10 years ago and then he realized it was stupid, he changed and has been a completely different person from that for years now, then you can't, if you don't want to be hypocritical, then you can't watch my videos because I used to say and joke about really stupid stuff and said things that were very hurtful and very insensitive and stuff like that. And I've grown as a person. I'd like to think maybe I'm a better person now than I was. Maybe I am, maybe I'm not. I don't know, maybe I'm the same asshole I've always been. I don't know, but I like to think maybe I'm a better person than I was. Point is, I don't say shit like that anymore. So, it's tough. There is no defending. There is no defending anything James Gunn said in those jokes and those tweets 10 years ago. There's no defending it. They were what they were. He said it. I said stuff too, except my stuff isn't on public record. See, that's the difference between a lot of you people and a lot of us and a James Gunn or something like that, is that nobody cares about the stupid stuff you've said before, so no one's looking around and trying to dig it up. But believe you me, if there are records, people could find stuff on you to make you look like the asshole. Anyway, it's a very delicate situation. It's a very tricky situation, made more complicated by the fact that Disney is just bold-faced lying about the fact that we didn't know James Gunn said that in public on Twitter before. Oh, we are caught totally by surprise. like that just complicates the matter even more. But hey, I'm guilty of it. I did it. I like to think I'm a better person now. I hope to God I'm a better person now. But I did it too. So it's a tricky situation, man. It's a tricky situation. And I still think there's a chance that Disney's always planned on bringing him back anyway. Because you can't just say, well, he said these things once. That's inconsistent with family stuff that they do. Well, so is Disney's racist past. But we grow, we evolve, we move on. So anyway, speaking of moving on, I probably spent too much time on this. Sorry about that. But it's a big issue right now. I feel like we could talk about this issue for hours. All right, let's move on here. Next one. Donaldo Martinez writes, have you seen the new Castlevania Season 2 trailer? No, I haven't. I've seen Castlevania Season 1, and I reviewed it. I liked it quite a bit. And I saw that there's a trailer for Season 2 now, but I haven't watched it yet. I'll be honest, I haven't even looked it up. I just hope to heaven it's more than 4 episodes this season. I hope this season is more than 4 episodes. That's all I'm going to say. But no, I haven't watched the trailer yet. Adamus95 writes, can't remember the actor's name. You may have to Google it, but how about the lead actor from the Raid movies for the Enter the Dragon remake? Well, it all depends on how good's his English. Because, I mean, the reality is you're making a movie for a North American audience primarily. So it really all depends on that. Can he carry a movie? Like, they've got Iko Uesis, I think that's his name. I might be mispronouncing his name, but you got him coming up in mile 22. But he's not the lead guy. He's not carrying the film because I just don't know if his language skills accommodate it or not. I just don't know. I simply don't. I'm not saying they do. I'm not saying they don't. I'm saying I don't know. So that would be a challenge. That would be a challenge. But hey, look, I'm just looking for a great actor. You can do stunt doubles. You can do body doubles for martial arts stuff. You can do all that kind of stuff, but what you cannot fake is acting. So just make sure you get a really, really solid actor. Styler follows up with, I haven't fully come to terms with the loss of John Schnepp. I only met him once in London, but I watched his content regularly for over 5 years, RIP. I'm telling you what, Styler, I'm not sure I've come to terms with it yet. You know, I was telling this story the other day. I don't even know that I've really grasped it. I think there's a possibility that to me, it's still theoretical. John, we lost Schnepp. I know that. But I feel like it hasn't made its way down here yet. And I'm waiting for that to happen. And I'm not looking forward to that happening. And I don't know how to process that. I've really been lamenting on the level of, like many of you guys, as a fan. I didn't just know John Schnepp. I didn't just work with John Schnepp. I was a fan of John Schnepp. I am. I'm a fan. And I think a lot of the lamenting I have done personally has probably, if I really shake it down, has been on the level as a fan who has lost this inspiration in our community. And I don't know that I've really processed it yet on the level of, this is a guy I worked with every day for almost 5 years. I don't know that I processed it yet. I don't know when I will, to be honest with you. But yeah, just can't be said enough. We said it 1,000 times. We could say it 10,000 more times. It still wouldn't be enough. It's an incredible loss to our whole community. It's an incredible loss to our whole community. Styler follows up. Henry Cavill was great in Mission Impossible. He's perfect for Bond. I'll be honest with you. I'm a huge Henry Cavill fan. You guys know I talk big Henry Cavill game all the time. I have ever since I saw him in The Tudors. Like, he's a great actor, and I think he'll be a great Bond. I don't know how great he was in Mission Impossible Fallout. He certainly wasn't bad. He certainly wasn't bad. And I think he was good. I don't know that he was great in it. I think the movie's great. I don't know if he was great in it. I'm not sure. And you guys know me. I am a huge Henry Cavill fan. I don't know that was his best outing. I don't know. But the one thing I have been absolutely certain of is that if they chose to go with Henry Cavill as the new James Bond, and I'm open to anybody being the new James Bond as long as it's a good actor. But if they go with Henry Cavill's new James Bond, I'll be tickled. I think he would make a fabulous James Bond. I think he would do the role incredible justice. I think he could be James Bond for another 15 years because of the age he's at right now. I think he could be Bond for about 15 years. He's got the look. He's got the acting chops. I mean, it's just, he'd be a great fit. Other guys could be great fits too. I'm just saying, if they did go with Henry Cavill, I'm right on board with that. I am all on board with that. Devontae Brown writes, did you see my tweet about Movie Pass / Adam Tickets drama? Nope, I did not see that. So I don't know when you sent it, but I have not seen that, Devontae, off the top of my head. Lee Brockway writes, when does the Christopher Robin embargo drop? I'm seeing it in the morning. I'm going to do the John Campea show in the morning, and then I'm going to leave immediately to go over and watch Christopher Robin in the morning. I believe there's no embargo after I see it, because in my invitation email, when there's an embargo, they normally say when the embargo is. In my invitation email, there is no mention of an embargo. I, therefore, am operating on the assumption that as soon as I see the movie, I am free to review it. If that's the case, you're going to see my review for Christopher Robin tomorrow afternoon. By the way, I should let you guys know, a little bit later this afternoon, early this evening, my August movie preview is coming out. I'm putting up my August movie preview. Top 5 most anticipated films of August. That's going up a little bit this afternoon, so keep your eyes open for that. Let's see here. Zombitron5678 writes, in honor of Avengers 3, head to didthanoskill.me and tell us if you survived. XD, it'll be quick, I promise. I haven't heard of that. I'm gonna check. You know what? I'm gonna do that right now. I'm gonna check it out right now. Let's see. What is it? Didthanoskill.me. Let's see. One word. Didthanoskill.me, and we will see what's going on. You were slain by Thanos for the good of the universe. Well, there you go. For the good of the universe, I was slayed by Thanos. Let's see. Taki75 writes, Venom agrees with Campea. Too many superheroes. Yeah, I like that. I like that little line in the trailer. There are too many superheroes. I love that line. Just another good thing from that Venom trailer. I gotta watch it again. Honestly, if I wasn't doing a live show right now, I'd probably stop what I was doing and watching it again. Let's see. Dimsum05 writes, dude, the Infinity War iTunes extra features included a great MCU directors roundtable, which included Whedon, Russo, Favreau, Gunn, Coogler, Reed, and Waititi. Oh, that's awesome. I'd love to check that out. I'm definitely have to find that. That would be something to watch. I remember, I think it was the Black Panther premiere I was at. It was either Black Panther or Ant-Man. I can't remember. But I remember being there, and about like 3 rows of seats over from me and just about 2 rows of seats up was Taika Waititi. And Jon Favreau came by. And then James Gunn came by. And did I say Taika Waititi was there? Yeah. And I think the Russo brothers were in the house and blah. And just for a moment there, and I didn't have my phone on me because they took our phones when we entered the theater at these things. I wanted to take a picture so bad because you basically had, Kevin Feige wasn't standing there at the time, but you basically had the MCU brain trust all standing right there. I'm like, oh my God, I want to take a picture of this right now. I never had a chance, but that sounds like something I'd really love to see, Dim Sum. All right. Devontae Brown writes, movie pass taking huge L loss from Adams contest. Again, I don't know what it is we're talking about, but I'm going to have to look that up because that sounds intriguing. I'm really wanting to see what that's all about. Styler Manu writes, the Clone Wars animated series fleshed out the characters and increased my overall appreciation for the prequel era movies. I recommend that you watch the new series. You may be pleasantly surprised. I doubt it because I watched all of the original Clone Wars stuff and I'm not a fan. It's just one of those things that it doesn't work for me. It's just one of those things where it doesn't work for me. So I don't really see why I would go watch the next season. You know, what were there, 7 seasons of Clone Wars? I think it was 7 or 6 at any rate. And since I didn't like them and they don't work for me, I don't see why I would waste my time watching yet another season of them, of yet another show that once again goes backwards in its storytelling instead of forwards. It's kind of all the things that bug me about Star Wars. So it's probably not something I'm going to check out. To be honest with you. Now, don't get me wrong. If I get a whole bunch of people write to me and say, Campea, I wasn't a big fan of Clone Wars either, but this new season of Clone Wars is exceptional. You got to check it out, blah, 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 blah. If I get a lot of that, then yeah, I'll sit down, pop on the first episode and see if it clicks. But I'm going to need a lot of it. I'm going to need a lot of convincing to check it out because like I said, I already devoted a lot of time to the Clone Wars series and it just didn't work for me. I just didn't like it. So anyway, that's just me, man. That's just me. All right. Dakota Barber writes, The Foreigner with Jackie Chan is an underrated film. I like The Foreigner with Jackie Chan, James Bond, Mamma Mia. Why I'm looking at his face in my head. Why am I? This is killing me. Mamma Mia cast. It's going to kill me when I bring up his name. Pierce Brosnan. Jackie Chan. Solid little film. I will admit, it wasn't as good as I was hoping it would be because I don't know if you guys remember, but when that movie with the trailers were just coming out and we were getting ready for the movie, I was really excited for it. Like, hyper excited for that movie. And I liked it. It's a solid film. I just got to say it wasn't quite as good as, I had my hopes set for it. But hey, whatever. It was a good movie. That's all you can ask for. If you haven't seen The Foreigner, I would suggest giving it a shot. Let's see here. Devontae Brown writes, Iron Fist Season 2 is 10 episodes. Actually listened. Do you mean listed? Anyway, interesting. 10 episodes. Okay. I mean, look, I don't know. I don't even, like, I think I'm going to approach Iron Fist the same way I'm approaching Clone Wars. I'm going to have to wait to see what other people say about it, because I invested however many hours that first season was, and it was awful. That first season of Iron Fist is just terrible. Just terrible. So I think there's going to be a lot of people like me. I think I'm going to have to just kind of sit back and wait to hear what I'm not going to jump on Netflix the moment it drops and start watching. I'm not investing any more time in that series unless I hear from other people, hey, John, this is a huge improvement over season 1. If that's the case, I'll jump on, give it a shot. But I'm going to have to hear from some people that I trust that it's worth watching, because that first season, I just wasted too many hours of my life, hours that I will never get back, watching that first season. So for me to watch season 2, I'm just going to have to hear what you guys have to say. So Devontae, if you check it out, let me know what you think. Let me know if it's worth checking out or not. Let's see. Marcus just sends in a super chat. Thank you so much, Marcus. Styler Manu writes, I must be in the minority. I love the Alita trailers. Well, listen, I wasn't big on the first one, but I think a lot of people thought the second one was a big improvement. That second trailer for Alita Battle Angel, I think, was a big improvement over the first one. It's a solid trailer. And, you know, I always say that the main job of a trailer is to take your needle, wherever it is for your excitement of a movie, and raise it a bit. And honestly, I think that second trailer for Alita Battle Angel did a really good job of raising the needle. It's a much better trailer than the first one. A very visceral sense to the action into it. I'm still not completely sold on the look of the girl. Fine, whatever. But there was a real visceral nature to the action. They teased a deeper mythology. They did a lot of things that a good trailer should do. And I got to tell you, I think a lot of people will agree with me that second trailer was actually quite good. So I don't think you're alone in that, Styler. All right, next question comes us from Jake Vidmar, who writes, this was a while ago, but a few months back, you had that movie club idea, and I thought that sounded like a lot of fun. Do you still think you may do that still? Sorry if you already addressed this. I had this idea for movie club, which was, and here's where the idea came, to be honest with you. It came from, and by the way, guys, I'm sorry, it's like 98 degrees in the San Fernando Valley right now. I got to turn on the AC. Sorry about that. It's going to be a little noisy. My apologies, but I got to have it on right now, or else I'm just going to melt. You can already tell I'm starting to shine a bit. It was after I did the spoiler discussion for Avengers Infinity War. And it was incredible. Like, there were enough questions sent in that I had to do like 5 or 6 follow-up videos just to get through all the questions that were sent in. And I remember how fun it was just with everybody openly talking about this movie. So, you know, this idea came along, and some other people had the idea too, about doing a movie club where once a week we pick a movie and just talk completely openly about it. So I had this grandiose plan, we were going to do it, but then something came up, because I was going to do it on Sundays. Something came up, couldn't do it. Then something came up the following week, couldn't do it. Then I couldn't do it the following week, and then it just kind of lost track of it. And I thought, if I'm not going to be able to be consistent with it, what's the point of doing it? So I don't know. I haven't completely abandoned the idea of it, because I think it's a good idea. I just got to find the time. Because I'll be honest with you, like, I'm working like 14 hours a day. And I am still doing some work on the weekends. It drives Ann nuts. It does. That's the one time Ann gets frustrated with me, when I do work on the weekends. So I'm trying as much as I can to not do much work on the weekends. But I just got to see if I can pull it off. I still like the idea. I still think there's merit in the idea. I still think it'll be fun. I just got to see if I can get time to pull it off. So have to wait and see. Totally fair question, Jake. Totally fair question. I just got to see if I can find time now to get it actually kicked off. Because the first one we were going to do was Gladiator. And then we just never got around to it. It's been frustrating. Okay, anyway. Matt Joe writes, have you watched Avatar: The Last Airbender? In my opinion, it's one of the best shows. It has a great story and great characters. Never watched it. I will have to check it out at some point. A lot of people I know like it, so I'm going to check it out at some point. But at this point, I've never seen it myself. Let's see. Rar Nation writes, I just canceled my Movie Pass. You and a lot of people, my friend. I just canceled my Movie Pass subscription. I'm a liability to them at this point. Dude, here's the thing. I just checked. Let me check it again here. Last time I checked, hold on a second. Helios and Matheson's stock price. It's down to 50 cents. MoviePass did a 250 to 1 reverse stock split, which means they took all these stocks. For every 250 shares you had, you were combining them into one share because they needed to get the stock price back up. Because it was sitting at like 8 cents or something like that, right? So they did this reverse stock split last week, got the stock price back up to $21 a share. I mean, that's misleading because they took 250 shares, squeezed them into one share, and now each share was worth $21. That $21 share today is worth 50 cents. That means that before they did the reverse stock split, that the shares of MoviePass and their parent company, Helios and Matheson, are worth 0.002 cents per share. Less than a penny. Much less than a penny. Isn't that nuts? It's actually worth like 0.002 cents per share. So it's down to 50 cents. This company's doomed, man. This company is doomed. Eddie Burton writes, curious, have you heard of the Nostalgia Critic? Yep, yeah, I've heard I've seen a few things of his. I think he's pretty good at what he does. I don't watch a lot of his stuff, I have to admit, but the couple of things I've seen, he's quite good. So yes, I have heard of him. Chris Warden writes, John, I know I've said it before, but I just want to stress to everyone what a great deal Cinemia is. I'm seeing 3 films a month and saving over $300 a year. Yeah, look, Cinemia, I still have my Cinemia card. I have an AMC A-list, but I still have my Cinemia card. For those rare occasions when I need to go see a movie that isn't at my AMC theater up the street from me. And it's rare, but it's nice still having that Cinemia card. I'm telling you, if you don't live near an AMC theater, but you still want a good movie subscription service, I recommend Cinemia. Now, I've heard from some people lately that they've been having some struggles with, like, their card didn't come, they're having trouble with customer service. That sucks. There's no excuse for that. All I can tell you is what my experience has been. My experience has been really good. I've liked using them. It has saved me a bunch of money using their service. It's always been a much better service than MoviePass. It's always been a much more financially sustainable service than MoviePass. I would say check it out. Again, first priority is get AMC A-list. If you don't live close to an AMC theater, and that's not an option, check out Cinemia. And by the way, if you live close to a Cinemark, Cinemark's got a pretty good deal too. They've got their movie club, which is a pretty good deal. Not as good of a deal as like Cinemia or AMC A-list, but it'll save you money. If you like going to your movies, the Cinemark Movie Club is also a good deal. Check that out as well. Joshua Stevens writes, I feel like Val Kilmer should have won Best Supporting Actor for his role in Tombstone in '93. Made the movie, in my opinion, and just about every line of his is quotable. Well, remember, he didn't write the lines. Don't forget that. But I remember I looked this up before. Listen, Best Supporting Actor, what was it, 2003? Let's see. Was that the year Chris Cooper won? Give me a second here, guys. Sorry about this. Actor in a supporting role. I'm not sure if that's the right year. Because if that's the year that Chris Cooper won for adaptation, then Val Kilmer didn't have any business beating him for that. Let's see. Maybe I should be looking at 2004. Best Actress. Actor in a leading role. Acting in a supporting role. Yeah, I can't remember what year that was specifically. But, hey, no, Val Kilmer was very good in that. Very, very good in that. As far as his lines being all memorable, yeah, but just don't forget that the lines aren't part of the performance. Somebody else wrote those lines, so don't forget that at the same time. But look, I think that's just an underappreciated movie. Oh, wait a second. I'm putting in 2003. It was 1993. I was off by a decade. Let me see here. Ooh, geez, that's the... Okay, 93 is the year Gene Hackman won for Unforgiven. Sorry, Val Kilmer did not deserve to win over that. But let me just check, maybe it was the Academy year 94. In 94, Tommy Lee Jones won for The Fugitive. Leonardo DiCaprio was also nominated for What's Eating Gilbert Grape. I actually think Leo DiCaprio should have won for What's Eating Gilbert Grape. Ralph Fiennes was nominated for Schindler's List. John Malkovich was nominated for In the Line of Fire. I just don't see Kilmer winning in that, whichever year it was that he qualified for. But that doesn't take away that he was great. You know, he was great in that movie. And it's a great movie. More people need to see that movie who haven't seen it. By all means, Joshua. Let's see. James Peter writes, could Newt have given Hagrid Argig? You're talking to the wrong guy, dude. I'm not a Potterhead, so I'm the wrong guy to ask. Joshua Stevens writes, I would love to see Jensen Ackles in a superhero role at some point. I remember back when they were talking about doing Captain America. I remember thinking... Jensen Ackles wouldn't have been a bad Captain America. And don't get me wrong, I was thrilled when they announced Chris Evans. I think he was a great choice. But I remember thinking Jensen Ackles could have been a pretty solid Captain America. I don't know that we'll ever see him in a superhero movie anymore at this point. But I'll go with you on Captain America. I think he would have done a pretty good job. If they had announced him as Captain America back in the day, I think he would have done a good job. I really do. Not saying he would have been better than Chris Evans. I'm just saying he would have done a really good job. I believe that. James Peter writes, Aragog. Again, I have no idea what an Aragog is, so I'm the wrong dude to ask, my friend. Sorry about that. If any of you guys know what he's talking about, please jump in the comments section. Address James's question for me. That would be great. Okay. Dan's Visuals writes, you think Star Wars 9 is the last film of the saga? Nah, I don't think so. I think there's going to be an episode 10 and an episode 11 and an episode 12. I mean, look, lots of different things can happen. But I've said it before. I will say it. I still believe at some point you will always have Star Wars episodic films. I really believe. I believe there will always be Star Wars episodic films. So I do. Maybe they take a couple of years off. Maybe they take 5 years off, but I do believe at some point there will be a Star Wars Episode 10. And maybe it completely changes the cast of characters and all that kind of stuff and tells almost a completely different story with loose connections to the other trilogy and the other trilogies, I should say. But I think I do think it'll happen. I can't prove that. I'm just speculating, but that's what I think. All right. Hector Jeter writes, hey, John. I've been catching up on all your shows lately due to my obsession with Blue Bloods. I've been binging for the last 3 weeks and just started season 8. Your friend Aaron was a great guest star in that. Yeah, my Aaron Cummings did do some spots in Blue Bloods. That's right, she did. You know, I've never watched Blue Bloods, but I have always been tempted to start watching it because I don't know a lot of people that watch it, but the people I know that watch it seem to love it. Like, seem to absolutely love it. And it's lasted a long time. It's not easy for a show to have longevity. And this show has had longevity. So I am curious to start binging it. Maybe the next time I've got a weekend to myself or I'm sick or whatever, Blue Bloods might be the next thing I put on. I got to give it a shot. But it's good hearing that I'm not alone thinking that you're checking it out. You seem to be enjoying it. I know a couple other people that really like it too, so I might have to check that out at some point. And I'm glad you recognized Aaron in that. That's great. Let's see here. Okay, here we go. Chris Parker writes, what's the likelihood that Mowgli is in fact good, but studio felt they couldn't climb out of the shade of Disney's Jungle Book? I think that's a possibility. I don't think it's a high possibility, but I do think it's definitely a possibility. But even then, selling it for $50 million, come on. You gotta believe they could have made more than that. And so, at least you'd hope they believe they could have made more than that in the theatrical release. But, hey, it is what it is. Look, because it's Andy Serkis directing, I'm going to check it out. For sure. The moment Netflix puts it on sometime in 2019, I will absolutely watch it. And it is possible. It's still good. They just didn't see a way to win from a marketing point of view. Although, why are you just figuring that out now? Like, why didn't you realize that a year ago? Why are you just figuring that out now? I do find it questionable. The timing of it seems to suggest that they're close to the final cut and Warner Brothers watched it and didn't believe in it. That's just what the timing seems to suggest, because believing you can't get out of the other Jungle Book shadow, you could have known that 6 months ago. You could have known that a year ago. The fact that they're close to completion on the movie, which would have been when the WB execs would have their final look at the final picture lock, that makes it suspicious. That, so you didn't like it. And so you're doing a fire sale and dumping it for $50 million to Netflix. It's suspicious, but it is possible. It is possible it's still good. Like I said, I love Andy Serkis. I'm going to give it a shot and we'll see how it turns out. Let's see here. Hector Jeter writes, have you seen the gif of Henry Cavill growing a beard and making a pocket appear on his shirt from reloading his punches from MI6? It's hilarious, and now I can't unsee it. I just love that movie. I have not seen that gif, as a matter of fact. I also really enjoyed the movie. I gotta say, I didn't love the movie as much as a lot of people. Like, to me, it's not the best Mission Impossible movie. I still think Ghost Protocol is the best. This one might be the second best. It's either this. I think Fallout is either the second or third best of the Mission Impossible franchise. But whatever. It's a solid, enjoyable, action-packed movie with crazy stunts. It's great. I had a really good time watching it. And if you haven't seen it yet, make sure you get out and see it. Unless you're trying to use your movie pass, because then you might be out of luck. All right. Lawrence RBE writes, was it a mistake by Marvel not to partake in Comic-Con in hindsight? It seems the sentiment Comic-Con felt empty without it. Let's go Black Panther to 700 million. No, I don't look, I think it would have been good for them to be there, but was it a mistake not to go? No. What have they got to promote? They literally had nothing coming out for the rest of the year. The amount of energy and effort it takes to coordinate to get all those people involved, all down to San Diego, the cost of doing it, everything, it's like they decided not to do it. You know what? They didn't do it. I don't think Sony did it with, I don't think Venom was, did Venom do a panel? Wait a second, I'm not even sure. Hold a second. Venom panel Comic-Con. I don't think they had a panel. Am I wrong? Yeah, no, they did. But they didn't, Fox didn't have one, Hellboy didn't have one. I mean, so it's not like it was really needed. If they had something coming out in August or November, I could see it. But no, was it a mistake? No. Are people any less excited about Avengers 4? No. Are people any less excited about Captain Marvel? No. So was it a mistake? I don't think so. Would it have been good if they did come? Yes, I think it would have been good. I think they should have come. But was it a mistake not to? I don't think so. A mistake suggests that there's consequences to them not going, and I simply don't think there are any. I don't think any of their upcoming movies are going to make $1 less at the box office because they didn't do a Hall H panel at Comic-Con. I would have loved to have seen them there, but they weren't, and I really don't think it's going to cost them at all. Spencer Clark writes, favorite Parks and Rec episode? Ice Rink. Ice Rink's a great one, for sure. Get on your feet. Anyway, I honestly don't know what my favorite one is. There are so many that's so good. The episode where Andy and April get married is great. That episode is hilarious. Please bring cooked steak. Please bring a copy of Avatar in 3D Blu-ray. Also, please bring 3D capable television. I love that episode, but even that one might not be my favorite. Snake Juice is a great episode. Any Ron Swanson-centric episode is great. There's too many. Ice Rink is definitely fabulous, but I mean, there's just so many of them. It's hard to pick off the top of my head. All right, Rod L writes, The werewolf transformation in Hemlock Grove on Netflix is amazing. The wolf comes out of the man like a butterfly in a cocoon, but with blood and gore. You know what? I watched a few episodes of Hemlock Grove. I don't remember that. Because it's got Famke Janssen in it. And I remember I watched a few episodes. It wasn't a very good show. But I watched a few episodes. I don't remember the werewolf transformation, though. I don't remember. But the way you're describing it, Rod, sounds absolutely horrific. I mean, that sounds horrific. I love the imagery. And you describe it great. I love that imagery. That sounds amazing. Now I'm going to have to jump on Netflix just to watch a werewolf transformation of that, because that sounds intense. That sounds absolutely horrific. Now I got to see that. All right. James Welsh writes, did you hear the new Cohen show is now a movie? I don't know what we're talking about, James. The Cohen show is now a movie. I don't know what we're talking about. Sorry about that, man. If you guys know what he's talking about, discuss amongst yourselves in the comments section. Shane Canavan writes, over under 12% Han Solo appears in episode 9 in a flashback. I don't think it's impossible. So I wouldn't say 0. I don't think it's impossible, so I won't say 0. But I'll take the under on 12%. Yeah, I'm going to take the under on 12%. I don't think you can get Harrison Ford back. I think you got him in to do the one movie so he can have his death scene, and I don't think you're going to get him back. So while I will not say 0, I will take the under on 12%. I don't think we're going to see him there. ZCM Zombie Custom Maps writes, would you consider the sequel trilogy of Mission Impossible as one of the greatest trilogies? Nah. I mean, it depends on what you mean by one of the greatest trilogies. Do you mean top 3? Then no. Do you mean top 10? Yeah, I think there's an argument it could be in the top 10. I think there's an argument it could be in the top 10. Certainly top 15. So it all depends by what you mean, what your definition of, one of the greatest. Because it's not up there with the Toy Story trilogy. It's not up there with the Godfather trilogy. It's not up there with the Lord of the Rings. It's not up there with the original Star Wars trilogy. So it's not in that company. But top 10, yes. I will say top 10. So if you're comfortable saying top 10 makes it one of the greatest trilogies, then I'll say yes. But top 5, I think that's questionable. Certainly not top 3. Top 5, doubtful, but maybe. But doubtful, because then you got the Indiana Jones trilogy. There's just too much other stuff. But I'll say, top 10. If you're going to say top 10 means one of the greatest, then I'll agree with you. If you're going to say it needs to be top 5 or top 3 to be one of the greatest, then I'm going to say no. That's just my opinion. That's just where I'm at on that. Dirk Diggler writes, in-law headaches. Oh, dude. I showed mother-in-law Gran Torino, and in the first 2 minutes, my mother-in-law was saying, I know I am not going to like this picture. Later, she seemed to get into it. What happens when I show her Infinity War? Well, remember, man, first of all, my advice when it comes to in-laws, patience. Patience. And that would be my advice to in-laws about their son-in-laws as well. Patience. Patience. I love my mother-in-law, and I loved my father-in-law before he died a couple years ago, Anne's dad. We didn't talk a lot because there's a language barrier. So, we didn't talk a lot. But he knew I loved his daughter. And I know what a great job he did raising Anne. And we had a mutual respect, and I enjoyed being around him. He was a great part of our wedding ceremony. But the key phrase here is patience. Look, my mother-in-law still thinks I'm unemployed. Anne and Ray's mom still kind of thinks I'm unemployed. She still kind of doesn't get what so you sit at home on, I'm doing a terrible Filipino accent, by the way. You sit at home on internet. Oh, that is not job. Oh, John's feeling better. Can he find a job now? It's like, so the key word, Dirk, is patience. Patience with the in-laws. The other thing is this. Remember the subjectivity of film, man. And it doesn't matter if it's an in-law. It can be anybody. Look, Infinity War may not be a movie that's for them. Because look, as great as Infinity War is, it's not a perfect movie. It's got its struggles. It's got some struggles with how it's a little bit overweighted. It bursts at the seams a little bit. It's a little bit too heavy of a film as far as the number of characters in it, how much they're trying to do in it, how many different story points it's got going on all over the place. It's a little top heavy. Still a wonderful movie. I love it. But, it's not going to be for everybody. I would suggest this, Dirk. This is my recommendation. If your mother-in-law likes other Marvel films, then yeah, sit down with her, show her Infinity War. If she has not shown an interest in other MCU films, watch another movie. Because I don't know that this one's going to be for her. Gran Torino sounds something more like one of our in-laws would be down for. But I don't know. If she has not shown an inclination to liking MCU movies before, I wouldn't bother with showing her Infinity War. Go with another movie. Show her Dirty Rotten Scoundrels. Go get some Steve Martin, Michael Caine goodness and show her Dirty Rotten Scoundrels. You probably have much better luck with that one, Dirk. That's my recommendation at any rate. Okay, Eddie Garcia writes, are you at least a little bit curious of what Marvel can do with Fantastic Four and X-Men? Oh, of course I am. But look, I've got faith in Kevin Feige. I do. But here's the thing. It's just going to be more of the same. One of the great things about the X-Men and because look, I'm telling you what, Deadpool would have never been made had it been over at Disney this whole time. Deadpool would never have been made. One of the most enjoyable comic book movies of all time never would have existed had they been over at Disney. Logan, one of the top 3 best comic book movies of all time. Logan never would have been made had it been over at Disney. Because Fox was doing the types of movies that Disney wasn't going to do. And so we got different types of films. Because like X-Men Days of Future Past is a radically different kind of film than anything Marvel's done. Logan is a radically different movie than anything else that Marvel and the MCU was going to do. Deadpool and Deadpool 2, clearly movies that were radically different than anything that Marvel was going to do. So one of the big advantages of Fox having those properties was we were getting different kinds of comic book movies. And as a result, we got some of the greatest comic book movies of all time. Again, Deadpool 1 never would have happened. Deadpool 2 never would have happened. Logan never would have happened. X-Men Days of Future Past never would have happened. Will the MCU do a good job with X-Men and things like that? Absolutely. I have all the faith in the world they'll do a good job. But it's more of the same. And I love the MCU. You guys know I love the MCU. The MCU is great, but it's great because there are other studios doing other comic book movies to give us some variety. Now we're going to get very MCU X-Men movies. And I'm sure they'll be good. I have all the faith in the world in Kevin Feige, so I'm sure they'll be good. We're going to get a very MCU Fantastic Four. And I'm sure it's going to be good because I have all the confidence in the world in Kevin Feige to make sure they're good. Absolutely. But by being in a different studio, other studios will do things and try things that the MCU won't do or try. And you get different DNA in their movies. Hence you get a Deadpool and a Logan and stuff like that. And I shudder to think about the fact that my neighbor's mowing their lawn right outside my window. So sorry about the noise, guys. But I shudder to think that had all these properties already been at Disney, we would be in a world that never had Logan, that never had Deadpool, that never had a number of these films. And that to me is sad. And to me, it's also a sad fact that we're about to move into a new era of comic book movies where, yay, Marvel's going to have some new characters. That's great. But it's going to be more homogenized. They're going to be more similar. And to me, that's unfortunate. I think overall, as much as I love the MCU makes the best comic book movies. But I think overall, this is bad for the comic book movie genre. I do. I really do. Again, I'm not taking anything away from Kevin Feige or the brain trust over there at Disney and what they're going to do with the Marvel films and what they're going to do with X-Men and Fantastic Four. Not taking any of that away at all. But the very fact that now we get even more of the movies that were getting made are going to be under the same people again making all those other movies that all have a similar DNA, that all have a similar kind of feel, instead of other studios that were doing things radically different than the way the MCU was doing it. And by taking big risks, that means sometimes they failed. Like sometimes they turned out a crappy movie. Absolutely they did. But they also turned out some of the all-time greats that were radically different than anything the MCU did. And I think there's just a lot of people that just don't get it. Like a lot of people just look at it, MCU makes great movies, therefore X-Men going to them is going to be great, yay! And that's fine, that's great, that's wonderful to feel that way, awesome. But take a step back for a moment and get a little bit of perspective on it. And look at the grander picture. I just think being a comic book movie fan is more interesting when we've got different leadership and different studios and different outfits approaching comic book movies differently than each other, and we get a wider variety of these types of things. I just think everybody wins. But anyway, that's just me. I'm sure there's a lot of people now, why does Campea hate Disney so much? I'm just saying, I just think being a comic book fan is more interesting when you got more players in the game doing different things than the guy next to them. That's all I'm saying. Anyway, Tyler Yates sends in a super chat. Thank you, Tyler. Matthew Leach writes, could be possible Disney planned on firing Gunn. Oh, no. As a matter of fact, Kevin Feige, I've heard some people speculate that maybe Disney was planning on firing Gunn anyway, and they were just looking for an excuse to fire James Gunn and blah, blah, blah. That's absolutely not true. Kevin Feige just recently talked about how even when Guardians is done, he's going to have James Gunn on in an advisory role to help guide the entire galactic expansion of the MCU. So Kevin Feige was just talking about that. So no, they had no plans for James Gunn going anywhere. They wanted to keep working with James Gunn. So that much we know for sure. Tyler Yates writes, who would you cast as the new Batman? Don't care. Don't care. You guys know me. I say the same thing whenever anybody asks, who should they cast as X? I don't care. As long as it's a good actor who remotely, physically fits the role. So take any actor out there who could remotely, physically fit the role, and as long as it's a good actor, I'm golden with it. Want to get Henry Cavill? Great, get Henry Cavill. You want to get John Hamm? Great, get John Hamm. I'm all for John Hamm. You want to get Jake Gyllenhaal? Great, get Jake Gyllenhaal. I'm all for it. You want to get Chiwetel Ejiofor? Great, I'm all for it. Get Chiwetel Ejiofor. Like anybody who's a good actor that could remotely, physically match the rare, then I'm good. I really am. Other than that, I don't have any one name that I go for. But that's the same as any time we're talking about casting and stuff like that. Let's see. Cobra writes, put Cruz and Chan in a movie together. Well, Chan's getting up there. I don't know that Chan doesn't do the same kind of crazy stuff he did before. Jackie Chan now is 64 years old. So he's about 10 years older than Tom Cruise. And Jackie Chan still moves like way better than you and I move. So, I mean, there's that. But I don't know if he's doing the same stuff. But it would be kind of cool if they could go, if Jackie Chan had one more in him, just make some crazy stunt movie with him and Tom Cruise. That could be pretty fun. Let's see. Hands of Stone writes, are you an X-Files fan? Not really. I watched a bunch of the original series, and I was a viewer. I wouldn't say I was a fan. You know what I mean? Like, there are shows you watch, and they keep you watching, but then there's shows you're a fan of. Like, you gotta watch it. I was a viewer of X-Files, so I liked X-Files, but I don't know that I would consider myself an X-Files fan. Like, I haven't watched any of the new series, because I know they relaunched X-Files. I never watched it. So, yeah, I wouldn't count myself as I'm not an X-Files hater by any stretch of the imagination. I'm just not an X-Files fan per se. Let's see here. Almost done here, guys. Almost out of time, but only got a few questions left, so I'm just going to make sure we get through all the questions we got here. Nerd Polmacist writes, it appears AMC is reinstating Chris Hardwick after an investigation into Chloe Dykstra Claims. Thoughts? Hey, look, if they did an investigation, I have no problem with this. I thought it was a good move for them to suspend him initially. Say, hey, these are serious allegations. We're going to suspend you for now, and we're going to do our own investigation. If they did an investigation, and they were thorough in their investigation, and if they felt that we believe, whatever the circumstances were, that are either don't exist or aren't serious enough, or there's big enough doubt that we feel comfortable still working with you, fine. Then I think that's great. If they did an investigation and felt that they're justified in keeping him on, then that's great. And that's kind of how I feel about that. As long as they investigated, if they feel good about it, that's all anybody can ask for. Let's see. Devontae Brown writes, my tweet was about Atom Tickets doing a contest offering free movies for a year. If you send pictures of your destroyed Movie Pass card, are you serious? Hold on a second. Atom Tickets Movie Pass. Oh no, that can't be true. That can't be true. Atom Tickets targets near-death Movie Pass with breakup sweepstakes. Oh my God, that's hilarious. Oh my God, that is hilarious. I had not heard about this. When did this come out? That just came out today. Okay, I had not heard about that, Devontae. That is hilarious stuff. It's mean. Make no mistake, it's mean. But Movie Pass probably hurts something like Atom Tickets. Oh my gosh. Wow. Oh my God, that's awesome. That's terrible and awesome all at the same time. Oh my goodness. That's harsh, dude. That is some stone cold heart right there. That is stone cold. Thank you for sharing that with me, Devontae. Oh my gosh, that's funny. All right, Darth Impact writes, hey John, you want a underrated and underappreciated Western? Silverado. It's one of my personal favorite Westerns ever. Oh, I love Silverado. Let me just make sure we're talking about the same movie here. Oh, maybe it's not the same movie that I'm thinking about. No, it's the same movie that we're thinking about. Yeah. Yes. As long as we're talking about the mid-'80s one. I'm not quite sure if there's another one, but it's the one that has Kevin Kline. I believe Scott Glenn is in that one too. Yeah, I like that movie. Unless we're talking about a different movie, but if we're talking about that mid-'80s one, I enjoy that one. I got a kick out of it. I did. I think that one's a really nice one to watch. Nice dark pick there, Darth. I like that one. Hardy Buck 4 writes, Ant-Man 2 still not out in the UK or Ireland. Very sad. Well, it's coming soon. So hang on tight. It's coming soon. Enjoyable, fun little flick. I think you're going to have a really good time with it. I can understand how frustrating it must be because it was supposed to come out over there the same time that it opened in North America, but then the World Cup made them push it off. Really, it's an unfortunate situation. It sucks that you guys had to wait this long, but it's coming. It's coming, and I think you're going to enjoy it. Hardy Buck follows up, would love to hear your opinion on Lost one day. I liked Lost very much right up until I thought Lost was great. Until I can tell you the moment that show lost me. Lost me? Anyway. I can tell you the moment that show lost me. It was the episode when they explained the backstory of the black smoke monster and Jacob. That's when the show lost me. That episode for me ruined Lost. It was that specific episode. Some people will point to seasons saying, that season ruined that show for me, or what. I can point to a specific episode that ruined the entire series for me. And it was that episode looking at the backstory of Jacob and the black smoke monster. That was the one that ruined the show for me. So I think I can still go back and watch Lost prior to that. I just have to imagine that nothing ever happened after that. But because up until that point, I loved Lost. I was all in on Lost. I loved that show. Right up until that one episode. And that one episode just ruined the whole thing for me, unfortunately. Let's see. Final question of the day. We went a little bit over time, but we got through all the questions. Let's see. Scott Vosper writes, my wife Evelyn says hi. I don't know if I personally know your wife Evelyn. If I do, say hi back. I've only known one Evelyn in my life, and it was a girl I went to that I studied law with in college. If it's the same one, say hi back for me. Or if you're just saying in general, your wife Evelyn says hi. Hello to both of you guys too. Thanks for being here and watching the show. All right, guys, that will do it for today's installment of Open Mic. Thank you so much for being here. Don't forget, guys, a little bit later. Actually, I got two announcements here. Two announcements. Don't click off yet. One, in about an hour or so, I'm putting up my August movie preview. Just a short video running down my top 5 most anticipated films of August. So make sure you check that out. But also, here's a little bit of an announcement. Starting tomorrow, all right? If you guys are Patreon supporters, please spread this news over on the Patreon Facebook page as well. Starting tomorrow, the John Campea show in the morning is going to move to 9 a.m. instead of 8:30. Now, what has happened was there was another show at 9 a.m. and honestly, only about 5% of the people who watch my show watch it live, so it's not a big deal. But I didn't want it to, I don't think anybody wanted to put anybody in a position that had to pick which live show they wanted to watch. So I had mine at 8:30. That other show was at 9. No problem. That other show has moved now to the afternoons. So to buy myself an extra 30 minutes of sleep in the mornings, I am moving the John Campea show from 8:30 in the morning to 9 a.m. So that's 9 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, noon East Coast time instead of 11:30 a.m. East Coast time. So I'm going to be making that move tomorrow. So if you're tuning in for the John Campea show tomorrow, it's going to be a half hour later than normal, and we're going to do it at that time just to buy me that extra 30 minutes of sleep that I so crave and want so badly. All right, guys. That'll do it for me. Thanks a lot for being here, guys. You guys are awesome. Thanks for sending in all those great questions. My name's John Campea, and until next time, bye-bye.